welcome to fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. I'm here with the wonderful Christian Schmitz, who is a truly fantastic FileMaker plugin developer. If you have not heard of the Monkeybread plugin and you use FileMaker, boy, are you missing out. RCC has a general rule that we generally don't endorse a lot of plugins or third-party attachments to FileMaker. There's a couple companies we endorse. The Monkeybread plugin is one of them. It is fantastic. It is over 7,000 functions now. I think we had a brief celebration on stream. We talked about when he hit 7,000 functions. If you think, man, I really wish FileMaker could do this, there's a pretty good chance the MBS plugin can make it happen. So real quick, let's talk about our live stream schedule. I'm here with Christian Schmitz today to discuss the 13.3 update. So there's a lot to cover in that update. I took a quick skim, a lot of cool stuff. Tuesday, so tomorrow we actually don't have stream. Some conflicts came up simultaneously. A lot of our engineers are off taking kids to school. It's a lot of kids' first day back to school. So nothing happened today, so enjoy your day off. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday are all going to be about the advanced multi-criteria filters. And I need to change that because that should be day 4, not day 6. There's been a lot of shuffling behind the scenes, some stuff happening. Next week will be interesting. We'll have some FileMaker news to discuss, so you should definitely drop by for that. Highly recommend it. If you'd like to support the channel, we'd greatly appreciate it. We've got our FM Training TV bundles, 3 options. If you really don't like the live stream format, I highly recommend this. They're short, contain videos, and a really good way to introduce yourself to the FileMaker platform. And also, you should go get this. Like right now, there's a free version that has, I don't remember off the top, it has a good chunk of functions. Get this is fantastic, seriously. There is no reason not to have it. You should just buy it. It's not that expensive considering what it does. And we're always grateful to have Christian Schmitz on stream to talk about it. So, or almost Tuesday for Christian Schmitz. So, Christian, what are we doing today?
Hello. Today we like to talk about the MBS FileMaker plugin. We got a new version in July, and, well, it's time to talk about it before the next version shows up.
Yeah. Before we're out of time and you already shipped 13.4.
Yeah, which is already in beta testing, so...
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Let me share my screen. So it may happen that you go on the website and you find the announcement for the plugin update. And there we can read about what's new. So we currently have 7,100 functions, something for everyone. So the biggest change, I think, is here the OpenSSL upgrade. So OpenSSL is a library used for encryption, SSL, hashing functions, and a lot of things. And recently we moved from version 1.1, which is quite an older version, but it has been supported up to today. So it's still getting patched to the newer version 3. And I didn't want to jump from 1.1 directly to 3. I thought I could wait for a bug fix update, so I waited for 3.1. And then it happened that there was another bug fix for the bug fix.
Usually how that goes.
So we went to 3.1.1. By switching out the library, there's always a little chance for something to break. So I had to test a lot of functions and actually found something. So we would use the plugin for the encryption, for curl functions. And one of the problems we got is that OpenSSL version 3 disables a few older ciphers. And if you still need one of those older ciphers, we got here this command to enable them back by lowering the security level. The older ciphers would allow someone to use a weaker algorithm and make the chance higher that someone could brute force into the connection. So you may not want that, but if you have an older server, like you have to connect to a 10-year-old server, which hasn't been updated for some reason, you may need that. But otherwise, it seems to work just fine. And well, we enjoy it, having it. I mean, so then the next thing we got are preview functions. So the preview functions allow you to have a PDF showing control on a FileMaker layout on Mac and Windows. And since it's a control made by the plugin, it's independent of FileMaker. So you can show a PDF and switch between records and switch between records without having the PDF switched. So the PDF can stay.
That's interesting.
So let me look for it. So we have examples. There's here PDF viewer example. Let's see. Now let's open the German version. This is the English one, yeah. So we have here the view example. And I need a PDF, so let's take the installation PDF and say here show preview. And now the plugin loads the PDF here from the container and shows it here on the layout. So you have a scrollable area with the PDF. And I said this is independent of FileMaker, so let's make a new record, another record, and just move between the records. It doesn't reload, it stays there. So FileMaker doesn't know it's there.
Could you have multiple of these if like you wanted to like compare multiple PDFs like right next to each other?
Yeah, you can have several of them. On macOS, they are based on the, so there's no context menu. You can just scroll here and there's a scroll bar here. So otherwise, it's just a plain preview. The other thing it can do is that it's using the preview, the quick look engine on Mac. So it can also show other file types. So let's say, let me just launch Pages here and make a dummy document and save that as a Word file. So test. So I have here, nobody cares. So about something can't be. So I copy the path name, put in the path here, and then show preview. Close preview. Remove the PDF. So no, this doesn't look right. I should take an example which works. But let's say we take, so it depends on how save. So it depends on how well the preview works for. So
there you go.
This is the Pages document. So it uses whatever preview uses in the Finder here. So in Finder, I can use the space key to show a preview of a file. And whatever that looks like, it's the same as we do. Yeah, like you can also take a picture. So it's just the preview engine for macOS, which we use to show you the PDF, but it also works technically for other file types.
Which is useful.
Okay. The bigger thing is that this can be used on Windows.
Oh, okay.
And now, I got here, I just got another dummy test Windows. You know, I always reinstall Windows frequently. I mess it up quickly. So let's import a PDF file. So let's take the installation again. And now show preview. And you see, this is how Windows previews a PDF document. So
that's cool. You got it to work with both.
Yeah. So again, this is independent of FileMaker. Let's see what happens. Nothing happens here. So FileMaker doesn't know the control exists. It's added by the plugin into the layout. And you can use it to scroll through a PDF document. Microsoft adds here a little toolbar, so you can jump pages here, and this defines whether it fits the page or not. I think this can be helpful if you need a PDF viewer, which doesn't offer a lot of things to steal the PDF. Like there is no save button here. So it's just the PDF is passed in memory, so there's no temporary file, like if you would use a interactive container, so you can just load the PDF. Yeah.
Does the PDF viewer require Dyna PDF?
No, this is just using whatever the operation system has. So this requires Windows 10 on Windows, because Microsoft includes a simple PDF viewer with the operation system. So I think this may be quite useful.
I would think so too. There's a lot of ways you could use this in creative applications.
So we have a couple of functions. So we use create with script. Oh, let me show the script here. Our script workspace is in English, yes. Let's see. This is the import. Select show preview. So it closes an existing preview. Okay, then we check if it's empty. So complain to the user, no PDF selected. We make a little pause here. That's an important thing. If the plugin wants to modify the layout, FileMaker has to actually create the layout and load it. So with a little pause here, we make sure that FileMaker has a little time to load the layout data and actually show the layout on the window. Because we use here a placeholder control. So let's see. Let's close, go edit. So here is a box. This is just a rectangle drawn by FileMaker. It's just a simple box.
Huh.
Like here when you go, there's it. It just draw a rectangle. It's just a placeholder.
Huh.
So the plugin knows where to put the control.
Okay, I didn't realize it wasn't even a field. That's cool.
This is not a field. This is just a rectangle, and it has a specific name.
Ah.
So the plugin can ask FileMaker, please tell me where is placeholder located, and ask for the X, Y coordinate and width and height. And then the plugin can put the control on that coordinate. And here the 0 is for the current window, but you could also just refer to any open window. Then we check for an error. Like if you run this on Windows 8 or Windows 7, you would get an error that the component needed for this control is not found, so it doesn't work. And then if you have data, if you have a control, we can load data. So we have a function to load from a container as well as a function to load from a file. And I think it's pretty simple. And when you don't need it anymore, you just ask the plugin to release it, and then it's gone. You may call the close in some trigger, like if the user is moving away from the layout, or if a popover is closing, and you may show it then when they go to the layout, or they go to the record, or if they open the popover where you show the PDF. So can be very useful, can be used in a lot of ways.
Yeah, especially since you can put it pretty much wherever you need it to.
Yeah, for Mac, we also have here auto start thing. So technically can also on Mac, you can play several file types, and so you could also load a movie. But that's not the main purpose here. So let's go to more functions.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a few JSON functions. They may be useful for you. So let's say you have JSON with an array. So you may have a big JSON block with maybe 1,000 records as JSON format, and you may have the array, and you may want to process them one by one. So you can ask the plugin to transfer all the JSON entries as JSON into a new list with the plugin. The plugin has the feature of a quick list, which is basically a list stored in memory, which you refer to by a number. So instead of having the list values in a text, the plugin keeps the list for you, and you can refer to it whenever you need to. Yeah, and this can make list operations much quicker because we don't need to pass the actual data around, but we just pass the identifier.
Yeah, that would make everything much
And
snappier.
yeah, and this feature allows you to fill a quick list with the JSON entries from a JSON array. And then you can work on this JSON array one by one. For example, here we have a little example script to filter. So you have your JSON array here. You separate it into a quick list, and then you loop over this list, get each of the entries in the list. Then this item is JSON, and so we can use whatever JSON functions we want and look on the item. In this case, we remove the entry if it matches our criteria. And the good thing is here, for all these operations, we don't pass around this huge JSON block around. So $list is just the number in memory. It's list number 1003 or whatever. And on the end, we can get back the JSON. So if you need some data structures to work with JSON, you can use those plugin functions.
Sort it without dragging all that extra weight around.
Yeah. So we also got a filter object array function. The idea here is there are a couple of JSON functions available as custom functions to do similar things, and performance can be faster if the plugin does it in C++ than you do it in FileMaker calculations. So again, if you have a huge array of JSON with records, and you like to go over all the records and look if a few records match a criteria, we can look for them. So we go through the array and look for the key test, and then for the value 1, 2, 3, and then we find this record, and so the other record is removed, and the list is returned. Again, if you do a lot of JSON processing, you may find this useful to find individual records from a big list of records. We have localization of our user interface. So the plugin has this preferences dialog, and this dialog is now available in 12 different languages. So if you are not speaking English, but maybe German or French, Italian, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Portuguese, I'm sure if I'm Swedish. So you may get this dialog on Mac OS in well, different languages.
Always
So
nice.
let me just look. So technically, this is a file here. So if you open the plugin, there's a resources folder, and here's for every language, there is one folder. And so you can take, if you're speaking some other language and you would like to get the localization, you could get this text file and translate all these texts.
Oh, and then just drop it back in?
No, send it to me.
Oh,
Well,
that makes more sense.
if you just change this file here, well,
Uh-huh.
you could just change the English file and put whatever text you like. But this breaks the code signature. So you would have to sign the plugin again.
Oh, got it.
It's a little bit work, but it can be done. And so I could add more languages here if someone sends me something. Like, for example, there's a Polish one here, which user made because they use FileMaker in Poland and they like to get things Polish, not in English.
Understandable. So, yeah, if you've got a language you'd like to see that's not in here, do that and send Christian your localization
Yeah, it should be
file.
a language FileMaker is also translated in. Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense.
That's true. I assume that FileMaker can translate most languages or anything that Mac has
FileMaker
access
is
to.
also available in several languages. Like if you go to the settings, this copy of FileMaker, where is it? Oh no, it's in here on the Windows version. You see it. Preferences there. There's a pop-up menu where you can pick the language.
Ah, gotcha.
And this copy here for Windows has 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 languages. But there's also another version for Eastern Europe, for example, which has the Polish localization.
Ah, got it. Okay.
If I remember correctly. So, yeah, it can be localized. So, preference look and so, oh, we got a question.
We did get a question. I'll ask it. It's not necessarily about 13.3, but about if MBS can do something in general. Can MBS send notifications from, say, the Mac server when it's running an FM script in a file to local users, Mac or PC? If so, is there something that can help walk me through setting that up?
So, basically, I think the question is about running a script on a different computer. Couple of ways you could do that. The way I would show you here is just to use a webhook. So, not again, here. So a webhook would allow you to have FileMaker Pro listening on a local port, which could then be invoked from another computer with insert from URL or our curl functions. That would be possible. Like, let's say I just started. Let's take the debugger. Let's go to the browser. Localhost 999. Anything happen? Yeah, here. The script is running. So the script is running, makes a new record, and I'm happy to see my firewall didn't block it. So you could have a script on a webhook listening for incoming calls, and then you could dispatch. And in the URL and whatever data you pass in the body and in the headers, you can, of course, send whatever data you need. This would be one way. Another way, what?
Oh, nothing. You're good.
So you don't need this layout. This is just an example database where the layout shows you what values we get. You don't need any layout for this. You can just run it in the background and then have your FileMaker servers be reachable on a port. And that's what this example does. Trigger script with webhook. So we have the, I should not double click. So, so this is the listener, which runs on an IP and a port. And then here is a trigger example where you just put in the ID and then you can trigger the script. But this doesn't work, I think, if sender and receiver are the same. Also, we may just, why not? Just try it. Yeah. Don't do this. Okay. So let's say I just launched this in a second copy of FileMaker. So I now, oh, here, test script called.
There you go.
So we sent the request and we got it here, and our test script is just showing you test script called. And so we set up the webhook here to just listen and basically take a connection, keep it open, the script runs. So here in the test script, oh, the webhook received. This is the magic. So we got a request, we take the URL parameters, and then we pass a JSON here with script name, file name, whether to wait. So we pass in the JSON what we want to do. And of course, you may want to check here if this is allowed. I mean, it should be a script you want to be publicly available. And we can get the parameters in the body, and then this script triggers whatever script you asked for. And yeah, returns the script result back. Or in this case here, so if it's wait, if it should not wait, we send an answer that we accepted the call, but don't wait. And then the script is performed. And yeah. And if your script wants to send back something, we have here some code to build an HTTP answer and send it back to the other side, so you can send back a result. Yeah. So you may want to check this example. Let's see.
There you go, Mark.
So trigger and wait. Click. And now you see here greetings from listener. So it receives the answer from the request. Okay. Webhooks, very useful. Can also be used to make an app, but you need to put it on the server, I think. So let's see. What else did we got in the new version? Auto-completion for custom function dialogs.
That's very nice.
But there's a little thing.
Ah.
Function 5. So the key thing is, I didn't enable it right from the beginning because, well, didn't work. Because the plugin usually just does auto-completion on its own for the script workspace. So what could be complete here? Next question. So let's see. What is happening? Nothing is happening. Oh, maybe type something. There we go. So the auto-completion feature from Apple is basically not working in a dialog setup, except that you can trigger it with function key and F5 for some reason. I don't know. And so I was able to get it to work this way. So you can type here something and you can pass whatever you like. So maybe useful for some people.
I would think so.
Let me go to a script. So here we define $webhooks. Okay, so let's see if it picks it up with something. I just wondered. So yeah, variable completion. So because the plugin sees webhooks is defined as a variable in the script on behind, it can autocomplete that. But again, it's function F5. Otherwise, you could also use the plugin here to check the syntax without pressing OK button. And you can execute the script. So you can define here, let's say, if you have a calculation here, you can run it. And if your calculation uses a parameter, maybe, say you have parameter A, you can use a / command to put in a value for your test. So I put in 3, and here it says 4. No, because we made the calculation.
That is
Yeah, I have
Incredibly
to
useful.
add this. This feature is only for Mac. So, and here this can be a calculation on its own. So you can here write something, current time or whatever. And you get time from the future. So, do we have any questions?
Not at the
Besides,
moment.
there's also a find box. Oh,
Oh, cool.
just Command F. So Command F for the search box. And so this is custom
That's
functions.
very useful because I know those can get really long. People are typing, but we'll see what they finish before I throw it at you.
Okay, so clickable links in script workspace to include links. Oh, yeah. So you may know that we already have here the possibility to put in some link to the documentation, and you get a little button here to open this website. Oops. Yeah, there it goes. So the improvement now is that you may have, let's say, a calculation where you have that. And now this also triggers such a button. So as long as we see a link here, we can show you the button, even if it's not a comment.
That's really useful. So if you happen to type it wrong, which, that happens all the time, you can immediately tell when it doesn't load.
The important thing is here, you put in links for relevant documentation, or you can also put in FMP link to open a certain database, to open database, go to script or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, also a Claris link if you use Claris Pro. Or I think you can also have things like a mail link, mail to.
Oh.
Let's see. Test. Yeah. So this would then launch your mail application and make a new email.
That's cool.
So you can write something like here. Email this guy if it doesn't work.
That's really cool. It's a really good way to catch problems if you got like a designated bug catching person.
Especially for using some REST APIs, I find it very useful to directly link to the documentation for the function used there. So you can look up parameters.
That's useful. It's very useful.
Next thing here. So we have matrix functions.
I don't know what matrix is.
For the plugin, it's just a two-dimensional list.
Got it.
So you need to store some data in memory as an array. We got a new function here, HTML. Guess what it does? Turns HTML. So whenever you have a matrix and you like to show it to the user, you can just use this function to get an HTML and then load it into our web viewer like this. So you use here data as a protocol, text HTML, charts it, and then just add the HTML. This way you can load the HTML into the web viewer without writing it to a file. And you can preview whatever is in your current matrix object. The matrix thing is very useful because you can just load data from some place, work with it a little bit, and then write it to another place. This example here reads cells from an Excel document.
Oh, that's nifty.
But you can also fill a matrix with SQL. So you can make a SQL query in FileMaker to get some data. You can pass CSV. CSV is here. So if you have some CSV text, like with semicolon or comma or tab, you can just pass it in and we will fill in the two-dimensional array.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can, for example, output it by, for example, requesting it as CSV again, if you like. You can also, like, you can make a CSV export in FileMaker this way by just getting the data with SQL, then exporting, then getting the CSV data, and then using our text or write text file function to write it to a disk. You can also insert your data into FileMaker. So if matrix contains records, you can just output it to records in a FileMaker table.
That's
or
cool.
you send it to an external table. Like here, SQL. So this could be anything like Postgres, MySQL, SQLite, whatever you have.
That's cool. Oh, people definitely like that. There's someone in Twitch who is excited about this. So
I see it all. It's very useful to simply say, let's say you get your data with SQL. Then you maybe get another table with SQL. Then you copy from one matrix to another matrix. You copy rows, columns here. You convert data type for one column or one row here. Just say, I want this converted from numbers to text, so my SQL statement later works. I may want to add a column with a fixed value, or add a row. I may want to calculate something like an average for a column, or
that makes
maximum,
sense.
minimum, multiply. I can multiply. Let's say I have a column where you have 1,000 values and they are in percent, but instead of having them range from 0 to 1, you want to range them from 0 to 100. And you can multiply a range of values. Rotate the matrix, also very useful sometimes. And so it's just a universal way to store your data in memory for some operation. And since we store the values in the FileMaker data types, so they stay in their type. So if you put in text, it stays in as text. So your text, numbers, dates, times, timestamps, containers.
So the data isn't garbled in any way. It all just stays the same when it transfers between everything.
Yeah, so you can query some value of the SQL into the matrix, later export to the SQL, and or here JSON. The whole thing was JSON. So you say, I have data in the matrix, I need JSON records.
That's really cool that it can talk to everything. So, or you can get it to remove data from everything. Questions, everybody? There is I'll grab this before we go on real quick. I'd like to hear what is the best practice for keeping MBS up to date and registered for both client and server. My current strategy is to have a standalone file that contains the current serial number and plugin in a container for both client and server. That file is called from every solution, so I don't need to keep things up to date in dozens of applications.
Yeah, if you have a dozen applications, it sounds very good to have one central file for the plugin. Usually we have the store registration function, which I think we use now for our license emails as a recommended way to send to install the license. So the license key is stored in the preference file, encrypted. So the plugin on launch will see that the license has been installed, will use this license key, and you actually don't need to register every time you launch FileMaker. On the server, we do that always, because the server may restart at any point, and we want to avoid paying customers to get a message to buy a license. For updating the plugin, we have a couple of scripts, example scripts. Let's see here in plugin installation, automatic installation of the plugin. So there are a lot of things to think about. Then you can check for it. You get error codes, and we have an example file for this. And we have a sample script to check if the plugin needs to update and then to install the update. In the best case, you would just install the plugin when you need it on a machine where it doesn't exist. If you need a newer plugin, you should you should first always test your solution with the newer plugin just in case something changed and you may need to adjust your script. And then you can use the install plugin file script step to install it. Yeah.
There you go. Does that answer your question,
No.
Oregon Dean, or anyone else who had that concern?
There are a few bigger SBA solutions which install the plugin on hundreds of machines. So
Yep.
seems to work well.
Sounds good. That's what they said. So cool.
Back to the matrix. If you have values in a matrix, we got the function to write them into Excel documents. So you would use our Excel functions and maybe open existing existing Excel file or create a new one, and then you can say, I like to pass the values into this book or this sheet and in this range. So you specify where to store the values. So this can be very handy to just make a request on one side, like SQL, get me some data, or pass CSV data, get it into memory, and then tell the plugin to just output it to an Excel document page. Again, this is a function which you would use in a bigger script if you have this job to quickly move a lot of data.
That makes sense.
And of course, one of the functions which doesn't have a direct example.
Is the
So what?
Which function doesn't have a direct example?
Yeah, here all these matrix functions. It's difficult to make an example for this.
That makes sense.
Because a lot of data processing. The next thing we can do is with DynaPDF, we got functions to create submit actions for forms to add fields to them. And we had a previous live stream on this where we created a PDF with a form to send the data to a web server. So it's this example here. I just got the English version, and a German version.
No, this is a fun stream.
Yeah. So here we create a submit action. And in the submit action, we specify a destination. So you can put in a PHP script. And if the user clicks this button in Acrobat Reader, the PDF is sent to the server. So if your PDF has some form where people would fill in some data and then click the button, you wouldn't need to ask them to upload it. The PDF would just click the button and data is sent. And you can send both as XML format or as PDF format.
Which is nice and versatile. I'm going to grab the link to that video we did so people are wondering where the video is.
Yeah. Shouldn't be hard to find.
No, we just did it. So
Just you got it already. Let's say training. So here.
There we go. I was trying to remember the name, which is the clue, because we got a lot of PDF forms. MBS.
Yeah. So and
there we go.
YouTube link.
Found it. Yep.
Okay. So next thing is we can do tagged PDFs. This is something a few people may need someday. See, yeah. So if you're writing a PDF with DynaPDF from scratch, so while you are appending to an existing PDF, you can use tags to classify your content. Like, for example, here, we would annotate our text with a P for paragraph. And this is a thing which you would do for screen reader applications or for people, well, disabled people with software to read the PDF for them. So it knows what's a list element, what's an artifact, or like a picture, what's a reference. So you would classify what's it. Some government contracts now require you to produce PDF with tags. So if you have to do this, well, we have the functions.
So you don't have to say no when they ask you. Always nice.
Yeah, it's now a requirement for a lot of things that you need to support a certain PDF standard. And with standard PDF, we can convert existing PDFs to other things like PDF-A. And then if you, yeah, let's just take a look here on set PDF version. So different PDF versions like the normal numbers, and then there's PDF-X and PDF-X3, PDF-A1B, and PDF-UA1, and here a lot of more. So if you need to have a specific PDF standard, you can use our plugin to convert if needed, and otherwise just mark it as the version you need.
No, all great. Seriously, your DynaPDF functions are always really fun. This is interesting. What is files delete later?
This is a little utility I made for myself. We often have this little problem that we need to write a temporary file, store something, maybe use it, and then eventually when FileMaker quits, we would like to clean up. So this is a sample script. We have a picture in a container field. We get a temporary file path for it. Then we write it to the temporary file. We use launch file to open the file, like open it in whatever, picture viewer. And then the user can work with the file, maybe move it somewhere, save it somewhere, whatever. And then when FileMaker quits, it will look up if the file still exists and delete it.
So this is really cool. Does this work with FileMaker files, spawning FileMaker files and deleting them later? I assume it would, right?
Well, that's a function you call to delete something later.
On that path, so it doesn't matter what's in the path. Okay.
Yeah, you can pick whatever path you like.
That's really cool because this happened to be an issue that me and Richard is running into because we have to write a local file to FileMaker Go to take specific pictures, otherwise it lags. But the file usually has to get deleted after the fact because we keep updating it. So that would be useful.
It may not work for FileMaker Go.
Oh, interesting.
There's no plugin there. But if Richard would make an iOS app for his company or his helicopters, whatever, he could use this iOS app and include the plugin.
Got it. Yeah, like for the iOS SDK. Yeah, that makes sense.
So the idea is always you are a company selling a FileMaker solution. So instead of telling people to install FileMaker Go, they would maybe install RCC Go. Pick whatever name you like, pick whatever icon you like, and whenever people click on it, it would open a default local database, and then you can connect to whatever server the customer uses to open the right solution.
That's cool.
So you can keep the customer from seeing some FileMaker or Claris thing, but using your company's thing. Okay, what else do we have? We got a little describe functions for graphics magic. And let me just try to make spontaneously a little example for this. Let's say I take the picture example in the English copy. So there is a picture. Result is a container currently. So let's change to text. Yeah, sure. Then see, this would be $result, and this would now be describe. And this is a useful function we found in the command line utility. So Graphics Magic has a command line utility to output this information if you ask it. And this can be useful information for you. Like it shows a lot of interesting values, like what file type this is, what the size is. And if the picture has metadata, let's see. Of course, I picked one which doesn't.
With metadata, yeah.
Take this one.
If you download it, it should still
Yeah,
have...
there's something. So let's take this nice picture. Now, yeah, we see here.
That's really cool.
Also the EXIF data. And yeah. So this is what the command line utility would output, and we just capture this for FileMaker, so we have a nice little function to give you all this text.
Make it readable so you can actually sift through it or sort through it if you want to, I assume.
Yeah, we also have a lot of functions to get the individual values, but this gives you all in one big text. And this could be something you show people in a little popover for information, so they could look on the details.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like pick the details you want, like if you want the hex colors for some reason only, you grab that.
So what else do we have? If you use the plugin's OCR feature, this Tesseract engine 4.5, I think 5.3 is current one. You can now not just get the text, but also get the text as a JSON, where you could get the coordinates for each piece of text, as well as some idea what the font size may be. Yeah, font size is the size. This is a font ID. Maybe put in the font name. Okay, so, but you see here some attributes if those are detected. But otherwise, you can get the coordinates, and that may be important because you may want to look for some text in a specific position. So you could loop over the entries and pick the text you need.
That's cool.
Okay, so our webhook got a new upgrade for the SSL function, so you can use private keys. Okay. We got a useful function to concat text with delimiters. So it's a very simple function, but people ask me, they like to concat a lot of things efficiently. So the plugin just gets all the things passed in as it can be text, it can be a field, it can be a variable, and we just collect it all and put it in a big text and then get it back to you.
Useful.
Because the number of parameters is variable, you can call it with a few or with a lot of, and this can't be done with custom functions as easily.
Makes it much simpler.
Let's see, I think it supports styles. Yeah, style text. That's another thing which is hard to achieve otherwise. Yeah, then you can turn on and off schedules. Okay, and our audit function got an update. And if you write Excel documents, you can now specify the column width in pixels as well as the row height in pixels instead of the units Excel uses. So by default, if you would specify the width of a column, the width would be measured in the width of a digit in the current font. So you basically have to say how many digits you want to show. A lot of people don't like that. So we got the function to pass in the width as pixels. And there's also the value -1 for auto-fitting.
Useful. That's particularly
if
nifty.
you have the job to do an Excel export in FileMaker and you need more to what is built in, you may use the plugin. So we updated a couple of libraries, of course. This is just regular maintenance. This is a thing I have to basically do every few months. A new library gets published, install it, try it. And an important one is here libssh, because there are a couple of newer algorithms for authentication, and the newer library can do the newer authentication, so we can now connect again to a few newer server software. So newer SSH servers. Okay, let's take a look on the release notes if you missed anything. Oh yeah, there is a new is_sonoma function. So we have these functions to tell you which operation system you are. And you can just have here ask if the new operation system is installed, coming later this year. And you may query this today if you like. And you could say if the user gets here a 1 back, so the user has a new operating system, you could show a dialog and say, warning, this solution is not yet tested for the new operation system. Expect some trouble. Okay. Yeah, you can hide the cancel button, little thing. Deprecated some old functions. Fixed a couple of bugs.
Always good to have the bug list fixed.
So let's see if we got some questions.
Just kind of a fun one. How on earth do you get all this done, and how long will it take you to get to 10,000 functions?
So that's a question for the statistics page. So we have a statistics page. So the current number is 7,151 actually.
You're almost to 7,200.
Yeah. So you see here how many functions we add per year. And you may notice that in general, it's getting slower because there's more things to maintain.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and there's less things missing. So a lot of people ask me for features which we already have. So
I just don't know you can do it yet. So,
but at this speed, it will take a couple of years. Yeah.
Basically, y'all have to come up with more ideas to throw at Christian.
Yeah. If you have an idea, please don't hesitate to email. So in your little idea. Yeah.
And they can maybe come to life, or Christian will tell you it already exists.
And we recently, some people asked it. I told people that we marked a lot of functions free to use, so you don't need a license for them. And people ask it, what is the list of functions? And it's in the documentation. So
that is not an inconsiderable amount. That's 2,000 functions for free if you just download the damn thing.
Yeah. But in general, people appreciate the work, so they're happy to throw in a few dollars.
Yes, no, it's fantastic. Seriously, if you don't have this, please go get it. Seriously. We're always grateful to have Christian on to talk about all the awesome things he does in the middle of writing all of his functions. So, any questions for Christian? We've got him on tap, as it were. Comments, concerns? Generally, people are saying thank you. This has been a good session.
Yeah, if people have some time on their vacation, we have something like 600 example databases here. So you can just click through them.
If you get
Maybe
bored.
in a week you can look at them all. You can also read through the function list. There's this all page, so you can just pick something and read about the details. And if you are very lucky, you can use our random page here to just jump to random functions on the documentation.
I didn't realize you had a random page. That's fun.
Oh, I have to fix it. It's the caching on the server keeps the server keeps a cache, and so let's see. Yeah.
Well, when you fix it, we should have a fun day where you just hit random, and then whatever function comes up, you have to explain to us.
Yeah, I will fix the random PHP to tell the server to not cache the page, but otherwise I can just, so you can just pick a random function and read about it and see what you can use it for.
Expand your FileMaker horizons. Seriously, Christian, this is fantastic. This update's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will load us up for the day, but thank you everyone for coming. And we will see all of you again Wednesday. So, goodbye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!